Durkin Plat J, Lot 13, 134 Sand Hill Cove Road. Notice of violation of town zoning ordinance issued by the zoning official. The town will be withdrawing that complaint. In other words, rescinding the notice of violation.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Process?
Yeah, so because the notice of violation is rescinded, the appeal becomes moot.
Because we're done. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There's no public,
There's no public.
no public
I'd
comment.
just like to comment on
We can't. Mr. Ferrandi, we
reasons
can't.
for the rescinding.
Mr. Ferrandi, we can't. No public comment. There's no public comment to be heard.
I don't understand, I just wanted a better explanation about why the town is rescinding. I mean, we have other.
We can't have, Mr. Ferrandi, we can't do that here now. You'll have to do it outside this meeting. Sorry, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, any way you could give a little better explanation? Or we
I
have to do
can't,
it
I'd be
this
glad to
month?
speak with you after the meeting, but I can't do it. There's no public comment.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back to the agenda. No chairman announcements. Proposed dates, do we have a chance to receive those and take a look at those?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
they follow the typical third Thursday of the month
Mhm.
with the, there's some exceptions
Sure.
where to coincide with planning in the same week. June 18th meeting is on a Wednesday, and that's due to the June 19th Thursday holiday. And the April meeting is the fourth week of the month because budget hearings are the previous week.
Okay. Do we need to adopt this, Steve?
You need to approve them, yes.
Has everyone had a chance to look at these dates? Is comfortable with them?
Motion to
Yes.
approve.
There we go, thank you.
Second.
All right. First and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, approval of minutes from November 21st, 2024.
Mr. Chairman, I need a motion to continue those. Those are not ready yet.
Okay,
Please.
do we need a motion?
Yes, to continue them. They're on the agenda to be approved, so we need a motion
Got
to
it.
continue the minutes.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Got a motion in a second to continue the meeting minutes till
The January
the
meeting.
January
January 23rd.
23rd meeting.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're up to public hearings. Champlin's a continuation of last month. We were going to submit some plans. We're going to talk about those amongst the folks.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Wynn, on behalf of the abutters. We have come to an agreement. I understand that a revised plan has been submitted. Attorney Sirdat is just not here. Yeah, he's a little stuck in traffic, so we're happy to go out of order to give him some time if that pleases the board.
We can do that.
Thank you, Chairman.
Do we have Odell here?
Mr. Champlin, the applicant and the attorney for the association are conversing outside in the moment.
All right then. Would you like a break?
And items for next agenda simply consist of the 2024 annual report, and at this time, it's just for your informational purposes, and they'll be in your packets for next
For next
month.
month. Thank you.
And here are the people for Odell.
The Odells are up.
Odell. Steve Lawrence.
Hi, Steve.
You're not an attorney, right? No. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Stephen Lawrence, Lawrence.
And your first name with a PH or V?
Steven.
Thank you.
So I'm Stephen Lawrence, owner of Lawrence Builders. I am the builder of this project that we're talking about right now, and I'm representing Stephen and Odell. Stephen, Allison, Odell. So I'll tell you about the situation that we're in here. We were in front of this board a year and a half ago or so.
Can I go down for a second?
Sure.
Just don't fly. Do we have the opposition?
Yes,
You do.
Attorney Nicole Kavanaugh from Lombardi Law Group, the association, Brickwater Condo Association.
So are you prepared to testify, or
Yes.
you are? Perfect. Mr. Lawrence, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So as you all know, we're a builder in town. We built the Odell's house. We were here and went through the regular process in Narragansett, through the planning board, through this board, through the building officials' office to get a permit for this project. There is, unfortunately, I think there's been an oversight in the police party here, to where, as we built this house, exactly to a set of plans by Gail Halleck that were approved from the town, and a site plan from Chris Palmer that were approved. There was a discrepancy in both of these. This is a site plan from Chris Palmer, thank you very much, that does not show the front entryway and stairs that get into the front door of the house, which is,
You gotta hold it. We did the last time,
Would you like another one?
yeah, I get it back up, thank you. Thanks so much. So the front entry to the house, the front door is right here. On this plan from Chris Palmer, which is done correctly, doesn't show the entry platform or the stairs. Now, on the construction plans from Gail Halleck, that were all submitted at the same time, which they are, do show that. Do you have that one?
I'm sorry, did you say the as-built plan or the,
So yeah, that's the as-built plan from Chris Palmer, which is fine, but Gail Halleck has, do you have a construction plan from Gail Halleck that shows just that first floor with the stairs on it?
I don't know if it's in this PowerPoint. If not, the board does have a copy in front of it.
But I think I can explain the situation here. So there was an oversight that was missed. So when we built the house, her plans, did all our elevations, dealt with, our flood zone stuff, came out that, okay, this was missed, we have a set of stairs and entry to the front door that is into the setbacks, unfortunately. An oversight. And we're here today because we have this. House is done, it's completed, it's built perfectly, and we're looking for the board here to have a conversation with us right now to say, yes, this front entryway and stairs is set into the setback, and it was by accident on a lot of parts, as I mentioned. Now, not that this has a lot to do with anything, but I think it kind of does. This white line down the middle of the street is actually the property line of this property of the house. Now, they're not looking to take this over. They don't want to go into, take it over the street and get their property back. They don't care. That's only here to have a conversation for tonight, to show you that the property is actually part of Breakwater Village's road, and they're fine with that.
So I'm clear. We have plans from the surveyor, Chris Palmer,
Yeah.
that do not show the stairs. That was a site plan. That
The
was
original one, correct.
The construction plans from Gail Holland, the design plans did show it.
They do.
Interesting.
The site plans, the construction plans from Gale show what? The stairs complying or the stairs not complying?
So the construction plans show the stairs on the construction drawings as,
So we-
here's the landing, here's the stairs. Doesn't say anything about complying to it, just here's our construction drawings that we use, that are stamped, that went through the planning, went through the zoning, and went through the building department.
So, I have a,
You guys don't have the Gail Holland plans, do you?
I can pull it up.
yeah,
But-
that's what we're just talking about.
And there is a
There,
plan
it's
on the
right
table
there.
that highlights on Gale, the step down on Gale's plan.
And it shows a one-step.
It shows
step
just a
down.
platform.
So is what is built is what is on this drawing that we're seeing, or no?
So if they're
And
saying
that's
there's
through the
only one
stairs.
step, I guess we have more than one step right now.
Is
The
are
elevations.
the stairs are what's going in the setback, or what's?
Yes, can you go to that one picture, the live picture that shows, actually, Chris Palmer's other picture that has the stairs and the landing. It looks just like this one. So you can see right this dotted line. So part of the stairs, these two stairs, and a little bit of that landing is into the setback.
How large is that landing?
That landing is 3 feet off the house. I think it's 5 feet wide.
What is a minimum for a landing? Can it be just made smaller and be in the setback?
The landing itself could be made smaller, being the setback, but the stairs will still be in the setback. Because how this dotted line here, how it comes across, this space right here in this bottom stair, that wouldn't meet code for a stairway. That wouldn't meet the 3 feet. This right there.
I think we're 3 feet shorter.
Yeah, so we would end up shrinking this down to, just too narrow. That wouldn't
So it would
meet a
just,
code.
it would just, to comply, it would just be stairs going to the door? No platform?
And that doesn't comply. You need to have a platform at an entry to the house. It has to be 3 feet off the house. That's part of the compliance.
So what,
But yes, if you could just do stairs into the house, it could comply, but you can't, unfortunately.
If you were to, you've got 5 feet, do you need all 5? Because if you bring that, if you drop it down, I'm surmising here, if you drop it down to 4 or 3.5, so 3 off the house.
Maybe we might be able to bring it this way a little bit, kind of look at the picture of the real live picture with the house is, where the door is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that, again, right here, we probably have 6 inches or 8 inches before the door without, once you get moving the door and all that, I mean, that's all we designed everything there.
No, that would be, in my mind, unsafe.
Do you have a floor plan of the first floor? An interior, so we can see where
You
the
guys
rooms
should
are?
have all that.
I didn't find it in the packet.
I can pull it.
Is there another place for there to be a front door on the first floor?
The only way to do something like this is a brand new house designed and built. We'd have to redesign the house, start tearing it apart and do something like that. So not really. The whole front of the house on Shore Road is just 3 bedrooms. Facing the opposite house, looking west, the bathroom, so we can't do it there. There is a back door that comes in through an outside shower into a laundry room, so that is an egress area there. But this is the only spot for a door.
so what, are there any alternatives? I mean, are there any? I mean, it doesn't seem like you're saying that
I
there's
don't-
any,
so-
but I want to,
So
I
let's
want to
walk
hear
through,
from
that was a good
staff.
question.
One at a time.
Alvin, I think that was a good question. Am I saying that?
Christine.
Sorry. Let me just answer your question. So is there any other place for a front door? So our front door right now is here. Anywhere here with the front door, we have all setback issues on this lighthouse part, so that can't happen. This is a bunk room bedroom, there's a bunk bed here, can't really put a front door there, master bedroom, bathroom. And then the back of the house here, there's a big parking lot back there, little parking spaces for the cars. So they do have an egress right here into the outdoor shower, through this door, washer, dryer, this is the laundry area, they get into the house here. There's no front door here because this is a stairway. Those 2 doors get you into the crawl space. And then here, there's a closet already where we have our electrical meter, we have our batteries for all our solar power, all on this wall, all installed. So we don't really have an option
Well,
to move that door.
what's the setback on that wall?
This here?
Mhm.
Can you go back to the Chris Palmer plan, please? Yeah, that's fine. So this is the wall we're talking about right here. So right now, I have our permanent power electrical meter here, which is underground through this parking lot, right to that pole. So So I guess in theory, you could take that power out, remove all that power to the pole, figure out how to do it underground again to some other part of the house, rewire it, not sure how to do that yet, and then put a door there. Pretty extreme expense for the homeowners to do that, but I guess you could maybe fit one in there. We'd have to move all the solar power, we have to move everything, relocate all that stuff to where, I don't know where it all goes. I don't know how that house would function.
Okay.
Did the surveyor use that line that you showed in the middle of the road as the property line boundary?
No, so that's, that's kind of a crude elementary line. We basically took a pin that was in the road by the sewer cap, and another one that is right there. So this line is that painted line, give or take a little bit. Just a crude, just an idea for you to be able to see that their property does actually go out there. Not that they want to have it, but that it is out into the road, you know. But this, that's set right there in the middle of the street, and that one's set also. So you could pull a string through there and see it all.
I guess what I'm asking is that what occasioned this, I guess originally the thought was that it was within the setbacks, but now it's been determined that it's not. Was it because that line was used as the boundary line from which the setbacks would flow?
No, that really, that didn't have anything to do with it. We actually didn't even know any of this happened until we were done. House is done, going for a CO, and then this popped up. We had no idea. Yeah. Personally, I didn't. As the builder, I had no idea. I did know about their property being in the street ahead of time. I knew about that a year ago, but that had nothing to do with anything.
So when did you realize that it was in violation or it didn't comply with the setback? When did everybody realize, I mean?
Oh, I don't know the date of that. I guess that was the town. You probably, there might be something that we were just told. I don't know the exact date of that. But that would have been somewhere around, if I had to guess, July 15th, maybe end of July, August.
So not until the
This
town.
We're 100% done doing our last thing here. Here's our as-built. All done, and then it popped up. Yeah.
Are there, all right, so this is what we have for construction, for what Gail's plans are. Do we have anything that looks like that in a construction plan, like that shows where Gail meant the stairs to be and how? Does that make sense? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, Ms. Gordon, to my knowledge, the only plans that we received for, from the architect are these ones up on the screen.
Yeah, so that shows it right there.
This is from the architect, which
Yep.
is Gail,
Yep.
okay.
And then what the board has in front of you with the red square, that's also a part of this plan. I can bring it up on the screen as well, which shows it as a one-step landing. Here on the north.
And a one-step landing wouldn't go out as far as the three-step that they built. Is that right? Is that?
I think the elevation caused that. The elevation caused them to continue that extra step. Elevation of the house.
I'm just trying to find out what happened.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't understand what happened and, you know, and why it's now rather than when it happened to come and get relief, to come and out, you know, once you realize, you know, to come and get relief, but I guess it didn't work that way. I don't understand it as well as I should.
We didn't understand we were building into a setback. We thought we have permission to build all the stuff. We're going for it, we build it, the plans, yes, we get an extra step. Didn't even know that the landing was in the setback until afterwards, because we had permission of all these plans to do it, and there was an oversight. All of us, somebody maybe could have saw, hey, listen, that got missed. That's not on the site plan. If it was on the site plan, that would have been caught at the very beginning by everyone, all of us. but it wasn't. It was an oversight, and it was a mistake, and they got missed, unfortunately. Because it wouldn't even have got that far. Gail and Chris would have said, hey, we got a problem here with the stairs. They would have started redesigning and figured things out. We never start our projects with going through a variance. We try to just do everything, all the towns, be compliant with the town.
Ryan, and Cal, we're reviewing site plan, right?
That's correct. The site plan holds.
Say that one more time.
They're reviewing the site plan. If it's not on the site plan, it doesn't belong there. Okay, bottom line. So they wouldn't be, other than, I'll stop there. All right, are you okay? That's what you got, right? That's your testimony at this point?
That's what I have here. Yeah.
At this point, any further questions from the board? If you wouldn't mind having a seat, what I'd like to do is go through and understand what the opposition is. Hang on, hang on 1 second. Just 1 second, please. Is there anyone at this point that would like to speak in favor of the application? Not you just sat back down, you can stay back up. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Attorney Nicole Kavanaugh. I'm with the Lombardi Law Group. I represent Breakwater Village Condominium Association. And we're here to clarify that the unit owner does not own that land that was pointed out there. I actually have the declaration and I have the deed, and I'm happy to let you see it, that shows that under the condominium declaration, the area beneath the actual building is limited common element, which means it's only for the exclusive use of that unit. And then it goes area 30 feet high. Beneath it, the property belongs to the Breakwater Village Condominium Association. The road also is common. This is anything that's outside the building, and I'll be happy to show you, it's in Article 2 of the declaration, which I can give you a copy of, that shows that this wasn't part of the ARC approval. When it was brought to the architectural committee to completely demolish the building, redesign, there was multiple discussions. In fact, we have a letter that we sent to the Odells discussing that exact thing on November 2nd, where we said, you do not own any portion of this road. You know, that you're breaching contract there. They bargained away their right in order to get the ARC approval. That we said, you agree to waive the right as consideration to reclaim any portion of the road in consideration for ARC's approval of your renovation plan. To assert it just as your contractor's about to finish the job is unfortunate, but you've created this setback issue and this danger issue being too close to the road by your own actions. That was never part of the approval. The condominium's concern is, one, they don't think, we assert that the Odells don't even have the right to make the application to you because they do not own the land. They do not own the land that landing is on. That is common area, common element of the condominium, which of course belongs to all the condominium unit owners. In the declaration, Unit 81, which is this unit, has 1/272nd of all the common area, which means that area that they built on belongs to the condominium. That being said, we are open to compromise to possibly allowing the stairs to stay if and only if the board finds that this is not a safety issue that would need more for them to try to usurp more of the road that belongs to the condominium, more common element. Condominium law does not allow you to convert common element without the approval of all unit owners. This was never brought up to the unit owners. In fact, we negotiated against it because we were gonna bring suit when they first brought the plans saying that this is non-conforming. Unfortunately, my partner was not able to be here, but I do have his letter where he did explain this and that,
Nicole, do you want to introduce that letter?
yes,
Real copy?
please, I would. And then who should I hand it to?
Ellen.
This letter was sent to the Odells explaining exactly the process that we had gone through. And that to now, at the end of the project, to bring this, it's kind of like they did it and now they're asking for, they're asking to be forgiven. That's not the way zoning boards work. It's for the safety, we understand that. And our concern is that if the zoning board finds that in order to keep the stairs, that it has to somehow try to take up over common land, we can't be a party to that because that is a common element of the condominium. I think to say that they didn't know, they've been in negotiations for over a year. And I have multiple emails that I could bring forward to you that the executive board voted to not pursue litigation from the Odells because there was a verbal agreement by the Odells that they would not try to seek additional area into the road so that they could meet the set-off bounds.
So, no, so, because I know their heads are gonna expand on this, so, are you set, is it the association's position, what part of the steps as on the as-built plan are you asserting is limited common area or as common area? Because why don't we go to the first question? What part of the stairs is limited common area?
Zero. It's all common element.
You're saying anything else in Breakwater Village, anything outside of the dimension of the house
Correct.
is a common area?
Correct. According to Article 2, unit boundaries defines as the lower boundary lines of the unit and the upper surface of the land under the unit.
Yep,
So
so,
the unit ends when it hits the ground.
and stop me if I'm confused here. So, I've only been here for 8 years, and I know Breakwater Village, they've come here for 20 years. No one, the association's never asserted that before this board. Ever. Can you explain, including my good friend Kara, who has a variance for stairs, can you explain why it's now the association's position that anything outside of the unit is common area and therefore needs the association to sign the application as a co-owner?
The declaration defines the unit boundaries and the common elements. We have never not asserted that anything outside the footprint and up 30 feet, and the footprint of the building up 30 feet belongs to the unit owner. Beneath the building, if there is oil, say, that's a limited common element, which means they have the right to occupy that area, but they do not have the right, the exclusive use to use that area, but they don't have the right to enter into common, which would be to go down. Everything outside the unit boundaries, which are defined clearly in the declaration, is common element.
But aren't these land units?
Then it's not a land
These
use.
are not land units. No, sir.
Then what you're saying is if the Odells or whoever builds a bigger house, because this was a knockdown and the footprint for the new house isn't the same as the footprint for the old house, then under your theory, they've taken common land and made it their own.
It's not a theory. They brought the plans to redo the building to the architectural, this is the Breakwater Valley Special District. And the Special District rules say that it has to be approved by the condominium. Now, they brought it to the condominium to demolish the property. They brought it, and it was agreed upon that they thought this would be a positive for everybody with the association. So they approved it based upon the plans, and they were willing to give concessions, you know, to build a new house. That being said, they did not approve to go into common element. The stairs were not on the architectural drawing
so
that was given to Art when the
I guess
first permit came about.
To simplify the issue for the board, the applicant's only here for the stairs. Is it your position that the condominium association needs to sign that application in order for the board to move forward? Because the limited,
It doesn't belong to them. I have a copy of their deed, which I'll be happy to give you, and I'll give you.
yeah, so I mean, you can obviously introduce that to the board. And again, Tony, you've been sitting, I do have to say that, you know, I understand all the elements, and not as much as Frank, obviously don't do as much condominium law as Frank does, but it just seems odd that Breakwater Village in this form has been around for 16 years, and this is the first time anyone has brought up this legal theory.
It's not a legal theory. It's actually based upon condominium law, and I'm going to actually point out the condominium provision that actually states anything that is not part of the unit is part. It is section 2.2, unit boundaries. Sorry. Any chutes, ducts, wires, conduits, sorry, hearing, or any other fixture lines partially within, outside the designated boundaries of the units, any portion thereof serving only that unit is a limited common element allocated solely to that unit, and any portion serving more than one unit is a common element. That, there's, on their deed, they're not allotted anything beyond, for limited common element, beyond the footprint of the newly approved. We feel as though that what was brought to the architectural committee and approved by Breakwater Village condominium did not include going out into the set-off area. We feel that the Odells are trying to take the approval of the demolition and the restructuring of a new building and use that as, oh, they agreed to everything. We didn't agree to everything. We agreed to a new structure being built there. That being said, we are open to compromise, like I said, if we're to possibly allowing a variance as long as the zoning board feels as though it's safe the way it is.
Well,
That's not
Time
a-
out.
Yeah, so-
Wait a minute, hold
Right.
on, one at a time.
go
So
ahead, Tony.
correct me, but
Yep.
we don't have purview over safety, right?
You
We don't do that,
Okay.
right?
Or the necessity, rather, my apologies, the necessity for the Odells to look to acquire out more common area so that they're no longer in a set-off is just not acceptable. It wasn't part of the application which was approved by ARC for the building and the demolition in the building only.
Well, you say that the limited common area is only the footprint of the building, so hold on for a minute. So, are you saying that no zoning laws apply to the lot there with respect to side setbacks and the like?
Of course they do.
So you're saying that all of that is in the common area?
Correct.
So everything other than the footprint of the building
Correct.
is common area?
Yes.
So
Limited.
when this came well, no, she's saying that the building, whatever the footprint is of the building, everything underneath it is limited common area, meaning it's for the exclusive use of the owner.
Correct.
And everything outside it, even if that appears on a survey, that's the lot, is common area.
Correct.
All right, so
Because of
when
the
this came
declaration.
before the art committee, was there a door there on that building?
I don't know if there was a door there.
Well, there had to be.
It had
You're
to
telling me
be.
there wasn't a door?
Right here.
So how did your committee expect these people to get out of that door?
They have an ability to access the building. They don't want to go through, but they have access from their driveway through the,
Shower.
it's an outdoor shower that they added. You know, they could move the shower. I mean, this is something that I would like to submit what a unit boundary is defined from the condominium. This is a portion of the declaration. It is a recorded copy. And it defines the unit as only the area of the footprint of the building and 30 feet up. They do not own the land that surrounds the building. I understand what you're saying, that while it may, logically say, oh, they had a door there, it's not as though the Odells hadn't been expressly in a conversation with Attorney Frank Lombardi, explaining to them that this does not belong to them. They made a verbal agreement to not extend, to try to usurp the area so that they could be within a boundary. It's just not part of it. I mean, the condominium statute says anything that's not a common element, or, not a limited common element or a unit is common element. According to the site plans, this is all common element. According to the actual definition, which I just handed you from the declaration, says, for whatever reason, when the person drafted this was not drafted by Frank Lombardi, they failed to allot any area to the unit owners, any area beyond their unit boundaries. They purchased it knowing that.
So if that's the case, then every variance that has come before this board from Breakwater Village, it's the association's position that every variance that's come before the board did not have proper signatories, and now therefore they're jurisdictionally void?
I can't speak on other applications I've never seen. Has there been a time when somebody has brought something to the actual architectural committee, been approved, and then we allowed, because part of the Breakwater Village Special District says that the Breakwater Village Condominium Architectural Committee must approve it. So I believe, no, I have the rules right here, and it says, acceptance, it's in my other. Do you want the Breakwater Village District, Special District rules? Do you have a copy of that? If not, I can pull it out of my. A condominium doesn't have to continuously claim its common element. There's no way, you don't give up common element. The only way to change common element into anything other than a common element is through a vote of 100% of the Breakwater Village. So, talking about possible variances, I need to see the actual submission to show whether or not there was approval, because my understanding is that it wouldn't even be taken to the zoning board until it followed the Breakwater Village Special District rules, which says that the architectural committee must approve it. I mean, I can't speak to those.
Yeah, so it doesn't say that they must approve it, it says that it must be submitted in 60 days past. We've had plenty come where they haven't approved.
Okay. So, Ms. Kavanaugh, a couple of things,
Yes,
we have
yes,
some
sir.
questions here. So I'm going to stretch this a little bit. So there are no other buildings in Breakwater Village that have staircases leading outside their homes. They're all ground level, they all walk in.
I cannot say that's not true, but again, if it is true, it's because they went and had it approved by the condominium board, the architectural committee of the.
So we're cutting to the chase, it comes down to the board did not approve those stairs.
Correct.
That's where we are with this. That's where Breakwater Village is with this.
Correct.
what is, hang on, John, I'll get
Well,
you.
that was my question, is what
Okay.
plan was approved by the ARC?
So, what is the compromise, well, is there a compromise that's been agreed to, or what is Breakwater Village offering?
Breakwater Village is willing to allow the stairs on the common element, which doesn't belong to the unit owner.
I think I got that.
Yeah. But when we went through and said this in that letter,
Mhm.
said, we requested the Odells to sign a binding commitment that they would not then try, saying, well, we're not safe now. They created the problem of not being safe,
Understand.
to then encroach upon common element. Our concern is, we can compromise, let the stairs stay if the zoning board approves it. That being said, and we would be okay with that, being that Breakwater would give its okay, because right now, they don't have our stamp of approval. If there would be a commitment that there's no, that the Odells, to actually give us a written commitment that they would not try to usurp that area to
Are you talking eminent or
create the set-off.
Are
Basically,
you talking adverse possession?
you cannot
No, you can't
adversely,
Just what I'm trying to understand,
you
where
can't
are
adversely possess
Okay.
common elements.
Okay.
Breakwater Village was ready to sue the Odells in June. In July, on July 2nd, we wrote them a letter and said, you gave us a verbal promise, you would not give us a written promise that you wouldn't go beyond and try to seek possession of the road so that you could create the setback. Basically trying to create an artificial setback by taking over common elements so that they were now within your rules. They've completely gone against that, extended the stairs further than what the one landing was, and we're concerned that if it was approved, that would set a precedent that's counter to condominium law. You can't take common element over it. The board and the condominium could make a decision with all the unit owners to allow this. I'm not saying that I'm just gonna say, yes, you can have it, and the board will say it. It actually has to be all the condominium unit owners have to agree to this. And we're saying, we're willing to bring this to a vote and say, yes, we're okay with this, if the zoning board says that this is proper. However, if the zoning board says that they need to come into the street in order to make the set-off proper and correct, we absolutely will not do that. We only offer the steps as a compromise. Because we hate to see it ripped, you know, to have to spend more money, but they did create this problem knowingly. They didn't go into this not knowingly. That letter didn't come out till after months and months of discussions with the Odells. Yes?
So, I'm a little confused by what you said. You want an agreement that they don't come into the street. What have you gotten, what have you heard, what do you believe they might do?
To achieve the set-off. If the board were to say, you don't have enough of a set-off from the street, it's not, it won't be approved by the
Well,
zoning
they don't
board.
have one, that's why
They
they're
don't.
seeking a
That's why
variance.
we're here, yeah.
Yeah.
But what more do
We
you
would
think they're
sign
going
on to
to
their
do to go in,
application.
what more do you think they'll do to go into the street? Like, what are you afraid of? What is their,
Well, they're afraid of, if the board were to say, no, it's not proper, that the Odells' next step would be to try to take more then. They've already taken what we did not give them when they put those stairs and that landing there. We're willing to work with them, but it has to be with the express agreement and a binding agreement that they will not seek court action or any other action with any governmental entity to try to create an artificial setback by taking over that land to get within zoning board rules. If the zoning board says this is okay, this is not a problem, and the Odells are willing to say that they will not seek, which they weren't willing to do, but they gave us a verbal promise, but then they went ahead and had their builder build the steps anyways, and now they're only asking for forgiveness. Honestly, at this point, we don't trust a verbal agreement anymore.
So, okay, so I guess that answers my question, because I was asking, have they agreed to give you your comfort, the comfort that you want? They have not, you said,
They
and
will
they
not,
won't,
no,
and they will
have
not.
They are not willing to. So,
What is,
Steve,
what,
I'm reserving the right of the condominium, saying that we don't have jurisdiction to even hear this, because they don't own the land. And alternatively, we offer the compromise where if you do allow it, a variance, that the Odells will not seek any court action to saying that they,
So, but Steve, if I may, I think I feel like we're out of order here, not out of order, but out of sequence. We can either grant the variance or deny the variance. We grant the variance, Breakwater Village has a problem that we can't do that because it's common land. We deny the variance, then Odell have to figure something else out.
Or appeal.
Or appeal, yep. The Breakwater Village is willing to compromise, but they need 100% of all the 170,
Owners.
whatever it is, to
Yeah.
do that. I would think they would need that approval before we can grant the approval.
I agree.
Well-
I'm not sure if it's the chicken or the egg here.
They're two different standards.
Okay,
So one is, she's saying that we don't even have jurisdiction because there's not proper signatories.
understood.
So, I guess that needs to be briefed or researched.
right,
Mhm.
right.
Why don't we, because if we don't have jurisdiction, then
Why are we
you
here?
can't hear the case.
Right.
But
Thank you.
Steve, we probably have had 20 applications
I don't.
on this board for variances for different parcels of land there.
Correct.
So they're basically, their position is, there's no such thing as a variance because it's all common area. It's absurd.
But,
I
what they're saying, she's saying is it's very possible that the variances that we've ruled on, the many that we've ruled on in the past, had already been approved
Yeah,
by
but-
the
but
ARC to
ARC
give
But they don't
them.
get approval for
Yeah.
it.
But ARC
Huh?
doesn't grant
I
any
can't
more
take
legal
everyone.
standing. Oh, I'm
Say
sorry.
it again.
The ARC approval doesn't grant any more legal standing. In our ordinance, all you have to do is submit it to ARC and wait 60 days. They don't have to approve. And we've had one or two that have come here where they didn't approve it. So, you can move, and then keeping in mind you got the jurisdictional thing, the next thing is you have zoning standards, which is, did they create their own hardship, which is a
How do you
whole,
say?
Pretty.
yeah, which
How do
is,
you,
how do you get over that?
exactly.
Yep.
Um,
That's- yeah.
So, it's up to you whether you want to move forward, wait a month and have them submit something in writing about the jurisdictional issue. And then, we can make, I can tell you I agree with Keith, is that the board has jurisdiction and that we don't need the applicant as long as it's in that, not the street part, not the strip part,
The
All
dotted
the
line,
land
the
that
dotted
the-
line.
within the triangle that,
all the land in that square is all common area.
That-
Only the footprint is,
Steve,
yes,
go ahead.
that,
Thank you.
that, again, that they wouldn't need 100% of the unit owners every time someone would come in a variance for Breakwater Village, however, to move forward. But with that said, then we get to the next step is again, the zoning portion of it. But it's up to you whether you want to move forward, and if you grant it, they have the right to appeal.
Mhm.
If you deny it, the Odells have the right to appeal. It's, I would hate to not, I don't even know if we're qualified to see if we have jurisdiction. That may be a declaratory judgment action to see who has actual jurisdiction. And if they want to take this position, then literally every variance ever in Breakwater Village is now void. So if they want to take that position, that's entirely up to Breakwater Village Condominium Association.
That's not what
My
I
thoughts-
said. If I can respond, that's not what I said. Do you want?
Go ahead.
My position is not that every variance was not approved. What I think you're missing here is that we approved many variances. We approved that for a unit owner to come and ask for a variance. They got the approval of the condominium in order to do that. Now, can I say that every variance that was ever applied for had the approval? I've never seen any of these variances. Often the condominium will work with people, as we are here. The only way that you could accept the compromise would be for us to sign on and to give you jurisdiction to make a decision. The condominium will not commit to any compromise which would require us to sign on to this application in order to give the zoning board jurisdiction unless the Odells can equally make amends for them going beyond their plans and asking for forgiveness later. So to say that every variance that we just don't have a common area is to not bring focus to what each particular action is for. Yes, there has been variances. That being said, this was not approved by the architectural committee. This is trying to go on our approval of the change of the building, saying, well, you already approved it. That wasn't on the plan that was approved by ARC.
So,
Kind of
I'm gonna hold you there for a second. Where I understand it, the ARC has the authority to receive submissions within 60 days,
And reject them. If they don't reject them, it's approved.
but it has no bearing on what the zoning board does. You have permission, or you have the authority to look at that, and if you don't act within 60 days, then we're gonna assume approval.
Correct.
Which is right. If you do deny it, if they do reject it, then there's an issue. In this case, you haven't made a decision one way or the other. You're making one now because the Odells have crossed the line. Well, they've gone over the line.
This wasn't what was submitted to us. What was approved,
Understand? Did not have this, yes. I got it.
Right.
All right.
Can I ask you a question?
You may, certainly may.
So-
You can clarify this some.
So, do you agree that the footprint of the house, as you've said, is limited common area, right?
I gave you that.
All right, and so that is for the exclusive use of the homeowner. Do you agree with that?
Correct.
Now, are you saying that the rest of the property, including their parking and everything else, is common area?
Parking is listed as a common element pertinent to the unit under the declaration. So no, I'm not saying it's all common area.
Okay.
Their driveway is a limited common element. But that is, for one, it's listed as a limited common element, being that it's for the exclusive use for the unit pertinent to it. That being said, you don't own limited common element. You only have the right to the exclusive use of it. Everybody has the right to walk directly around their house if they want. It's common element. It always has been. Our declaration spells it out in the definition of the units, in the definition of the common elements. I just gave you the definition of the unit.
So with respect to this lot, if you can even call it a lot now, can you point out to me what the common element, the common areas are on that lot?
Everything that is not in the footprint of the building or the allotted parking space that is listed as limited common element pertinent to the unit.
So
Everything else is.
So if I'm a member of that association, I can go put my lawn chairs on your common
Absolutely.
element and hang out in your
And that's part of
backyard?
living in a condominium, absolutely. That is what common element means.
I'm sure that would go a little
Crazy.
big in the Breakwater Village.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't, but, many times You know, I just had another one in Newport, where it's funny that you say lawn chairs, because they said, well, it's right in front of my unit. No, no, and we ended up winning. It's not. You don't have it. If it's not listed as a limited common element next to a unit that's pertinent to, you do not have the right to the exclusive use. Limited common element says exclusive use of that unit owner.
So-
Everything else, and
But this is a little bit different than a condominium in Newport where there's multiple units in one building. These are all separate buildings on separately identifiable lots, whether you call them lots or not. We've all driven through there. I understand the condo theory, but
it's not a theory, it's defined in the documents.
there's no way any owner of any building down there is going to allow someone else to hang out in their backyard. Are they?
That
There's no
doesn't
way.
change condominium law, and 2.02 of the condominium statute says if it's not limited common and it's not a unit, it's common element.
So, okay, can I just ask, if the Odells enclosed the landing,
They cannot-
would it then become part of the unit and therefore under their exclusive control?
No, because the unit boundaries are defined in the plot and plan of the condominium declaration. So no, you cannot expand your unit boundaries to take over common element. Absolutely not. Because you know how many condominium unit owners would decide that I'm gonna put a patio in front of it and I'm gonna take it? People are constantly suing the association, or the association is defending against people put patios all the time, and they get them ripped up after the judge says that's common element. We agreed not to sue, and we will sue, absolutely, and bring them into compliance, because we will not set a precedent that says, do what you want to do and then we forgive you after. That being said, we just wanted to say, is there an ability to compromise without costing a huge amount of money, moving the solar to get a new door? We're trying to make it work, but we're not in a position, condominium law doesn't allow us to do it, nor does the declaration allow us to do it. We cannot convert common element to limited common element or to a unit boundary without agreement. That is just the way condominiums work. It's defined in the declaration that says, if you want to convert it, portion, it has to be put up to a vote and they have to agree to it.
So if this had come before your committee with that little stairway on it, you wouldn't have any problem right now, right? If that came
Actually,
before...
we did have a problem and we discussed it in that letter. We said,
But that's after the
You're right.
fact. If it came before your committee with, as it's depicted here, with the staircase the way we see it right now, and it was approved, you wouldn't be here, even if they had a setback problem, because it's not in violation of what you've approved.
we wouldn't have approved it knowing that there was a setback problem. We would have had a proper schematic that showed where the setback was. The line that was sprayed on the concrete of the road that belongs 100% to the condominium, it's just not real. Somebody decided to put a line there. You can read in the condominium declaration, and their, did I give you their unit deed? Oh, here it is. They don't own it. It's just, if you take their deed in conjunction with the definition of the unit boundaries that I just gave you, Article 2 of the declaration, they don't own it. They decided that we're going to, the part that I showed you, and I didn't keep a copy of it in front of me, of the declaration that says the unit owner description says that stoops and stairs are common elements, or limited common elements to the ones that were in the original declaration, the original build plan. So if there were stoops or stairs on any of the units, they were approved in the original plans by the declarant when he submitted them. And they were locked down when the declarant filed the declaration with the land evidence in Narragansett.
Yeah, but the original declarant is not this guy. I mean, this was knocked down. There was a house there before, which was knocked down, right?
Correct.
All right,
Which you
so
can't normally do.
All right, but you approved that, and the only, what up against here is that someone submitted there was a plan submitted that either omitted those specific stairs,
Correct.
and,
It was omitted in the.
but there
plan
probably was a door there.
Okay,
So maybe if we could find that out, that might be very interesting to us.
well,
This is what was submitted, there's the door.
And so, you know, because people just
again,
step out a
if the
door onto the...
one-step stoop was there and it was within, we wouldn't have a problem with it. It's, again, we're willing to sign on the application, give you the jurisdiction to rule on this. If and only if the Odells will actually give us in writing what they wouldn't give us in June and July. And even before those stairs went in, the discussion has been ongoing with the Odells and the association. This is not an unknown. This is something that was well known in the beginning of the project.
So, let me just add one final question.
You're right.
Under your theory, the Odells cannot have stairs anyway. Correct?
Defining common element is not a theory. It is both in 31.1.
Right,
and
under,
the law.
let me
It's
restate
not.
that.
It's just not.
Under the, you're here representing the association.
Correct.
It's the association's position that the Odells cannot have stairs in their house.
Unless approved by Breakwater Village, correct. Because this, anything that was built in the original build was approved. They sought to demolish, therefore, and rebuild. Therefore, they had to submit a plan to us, which they did. We're not saying that we won't approve. In fact, we're trying to help them, saying that we'll approve, like we have for other people who have stairs, because everybody else that has stairs, they were there when it was built. It's part of the original design. This only came about when we approved the demolition and the rebuild. So to say nobody else is allowed stairs is an absolute farce. It's just not true. They could have and should have properly defined what they were going to do. They've been in discussions. This is not something that was a mistake left out. No, this was done. We'll do it and ask for forgiveness after. And again, we are trying to assist the Odells. We want them to be happy in their community. But we cannot jeopardize what belongs to all the owners to make them happy, because they knew before they built the stairs that they shouldn't do it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Phyllis. I thought we had a last question. Go ahead.
So, I'm sorry.
That's all right. John.
So just to follow up from that, so the association's position is it's not just that little triangle outside the dotted line that's the issue. It's the entire, the landing, staircase, that whole bit outside the door. Is that right?
I'm sorry.
Right. So
what
so
is
this so
Yeah.
you're saying this entire, the landing and the stairs are the issue, right? As opposed just to this little piece outside the dotted line that's come before the board.
Yeah,
for
the
setback.
jurisdiction is
Right.
just outside the dotted line.
Right, okay.
That's the ask to us, but I don't know.
Right.
the-
Right.
That's the app to us. Or to
Right,
them.
and I'm trying to understand,
Right.
I'm just trying to
Them.
understand the dynamic where, right, so the association would say that this is the piece that would be subject to the approval, or is it the entire, because it's outside the footprint of the building, right, it's a landing and a staircase?
I do not know what that dotted line, that triangle that you're talking about, I don't know what
Well,
that.
This is the bit that they're,
No, I
they're asking
understand
the
it. It
variance
shows
of the
the
setback,
It
right?
shows the setback.
Right.
None of it should have been built beyond a step out, which we approved, the one step that was on the drawing. There was no extending to the street going in the area of setback in the plans that we approved. We disagree with the Odell's assertion that our approval for the demolition and the rebuild allowed something that wasn't on the plans and wasn't submitted to us. They're trying to say that our approval of one approves the other, and it's just not true. You can't add to what was approved and say, well, you approved it the first time. No. But again, Breakwater Village wants to try to work with these people, and we are willing to sign on to the application and give the zoning board the right to rule on it. And again, we don't have a problem with the stairs staying, but we do have a problem with the stairs staying and the variance being approved if that then gives the Odells the inclination to say, well, we're not safe, so we really need to take out area. We've already given. We've already compromised. We must, at this point, reserve our right to object to them looking for annexing a portion of the road so that they can create a fake set-off. It's just, it's not acceptable. We can't do it.
What are the property lines upon which we base our zoning in this area?
If we base, we based upon, not forget the strip. It was always my assumption, we based upon the, the surveyed, each unit, each land unit was surveyed.
There is
And
no
so,
land units. There absolutely is no land units.
that's our language we use here. We're trying to figure this out. So those survey lines are what we would say the setbacks would have to be from?
Based off the survey. Yeah.
Based off the survey. So all these people are asking for is a 2.3 foot side yard setback from those surveyed lines. And that's what you're objecting to, just so that.
No, we are not. We're willing to sign on to that. Our only concern is, and because there was months of discussion, they want part of the road, because they're like, well, it's not safe, we're just gonna step into the road. So we want you to approve the variance for them, allow them to keep the stairs, but not give them what they fought us and what they agreed. They're breaching the agreement that they made with us. And additionally, it doesn't really matter what agreement they made with us because it doesn't belong to them. So we are trying to assist them. That being said, we will not, nor can we, based upon the condominium statute of Rhode Island, we can't give away limited common. So we can allow, because obviously you need stairs to step down, so we want to make it work for them. But by going behind or by changing what the as-built was after the ARC approval, we must protect the condominium unit from them saying, well, the variance was approved, you let it be approved, and now it's just not safe, so we really need to come out in there, Again, if they will sign something, a binding agreement that they will not seek judicial intervention to try to create an artificial boundary within the common element, we will sign on and let you rule on it, and hope, I'm sure they hope, let them keep it, but beyond, we already asked for it, they said no, and then they put the stairs. Bad behavior can't be approved. We just can't do it, because then anyone will build what they want on the common area and say, well, it was done there. No, if we can protect the condominium association, that road, that is our main priority for coming to the zoning board public hearing, was to say, listen, we will work with you if the zoning board is okay with it. That being said, you must understand that this is not, we're not opening the floodgates. And it's more important that, and we have the duty to the other unit owners to protect them from getting their common elements usurped. We can't contradict condominium law that says that to change unit boundaries have to be approved. That's not just in the declaration. That's condominium law. You can't just take common element and convert it into a unit or limited common. You can take common element and make it into limited common element by approval of the board, so we could make the stairs limited common, but we most certainly cannot
Ms.
take,
Cavanaugh, I appreciate the commentary, but we're repeating ourselves at this point.
I agree.
I think, you have your answer?
Yeah.
You have your answer?
Yes, thanks.
Mr. Marcelo, I keep hearing we don't have jurisdiction. Do we need ARC approval before we can hear this?
Do you need ARC approval? No,
We
you
need
do,
wait
no,
for
you
the-
do not need ARC approval if I can read.
So I keep hearing jurisdiction until we give the board
Yeah,
jurisdiction.
so there's two issues. One is ARC approval. It says, the review may be conducted either prior to or after the submission of a building application to the or a zoning board application, provided proof of the project has been reviewed by the BCVA or proof of the application has been submitted and at least 60 days have passed from the date of submission and no action has taken. If no recommendation is received after submission and it is deemed to be a recommendation for approval, then the application shall be processed by the building official or the zoning board of review as possible. That is different than what I believe, so that's the ARC approval, which just has to be submitted. That, I believe, is different than what Nicole is saying, is that since it's common area, you need the owners have to sign the application, because when someone comes to the zoning board, all owners have to sign the application. So they're really two separate, entirely, in my opinion, they're
Right.
two entirely separate issues.
So
One
if
is, forget about even,
Go ahead.
yeah, so one is submission to the ARC and the time frame, and one is their legal position that if it's in a common area or then you need the association to sign the application.
And the latter, can you offer an opinion
About the
about
association.
the association?
I mean, not tonight. I mean,
Okay,
again,
there's some no, I understand. Okay.
This-
So
this-
my initial inclination was to hear this and decide. However, I think we need the research first.
yeah, correct. And
So-
and they can submit, the applicant's attorney can submit anything to the planning department, and it'll be reviewed by my office, and if I'm here next month, I'll give you an opinion. If not, someone else will.
can I get one clarification? My question is, in order to submit a variance petition, don't you have to own the property?
So we're gonna, this is,
Yeah, I don't know that we
we're asked, so again, you come here with a legal theory that Breakwater Village has never put forward in the history of the board. I've been here for 8 years. It was approved in 2009, so you're talking 15 years. I think it's prudent legal process to continue the matter to allow both sides, including the Odells and including your office, to submit written memorandum in support. So either I can review it, there's 3 attorneys on the board, very seasoned attorneys, that they can review it. And if you don't want to submit anything, that's perfectly fine too. But to come here and on that legal theory and just, basically have me make a snap decision without any research is impossible.
I agree. I think that it should be held open and give you an opportunity to do some research. And we absolutely, I concur with my brother that says that we absolutely should keep it open, and that it's not a theory of ownership. I have the deed and I have the declaration that shows what the deed is.
Ms. Gaffney, I got that.
So
We've been through that
we will
several
be
times.
happy to put that in, well, I was gonna follow up, but we'll be happy to put that in our submission to you, so that you can review it, and that the board can review it, and show that the ownership is by deed and declaration, and and no other. It's not a theory, and we were happy to submit the proof of ownership.
Should we get that deed into evidence?
Yes. I'll give you the whole declaration if you want.
That'll save.
Yeah. Submit anything you want.
This is the unit owner deed that says that they take subject to the declaration, so I'm gonna give you that.
Steve and staff, and to have this ready for the next month, when we need these submissions.
And I'll give you a copy of the, I gave you the one page of the declaration, I'll give you the rest of it.
I mean, they can, two weeks, 14 days before the next hearing would be
Ideal.
helpful.
Okay, and
Right.
Heidi, next meeting is the 23rd.
Yes. January 23rd.
14 days
January
prior.
23rd?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
14 days prior.
So submission 14 days before that, Mr. Chairman?
So what's the date?
Submission is 14 days before the 23rd?
Yes,
Which would be,
I'm looking for the date. Heidi's finding it for me.
I'll take
23
the
minus
declaration.
14 is
Yeah,
9.
I'm not doing that tonight.
January 9th.
Thank you.
Right.
That's what the other finance commission, thank you. The first place. All right. Okay, so the board, I'll entertain a motion to
Continue
continue
to
this
January.
for January 23rd
Yep.
meeting.
Can I ask you a question before we do
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Sure,
Go
why
ahead. Ask anything you
I'll
want.
take the declaration.
How, it seemed, how do you even get along, so I understand that there's a whole legal thing about condos, and it seems like we're getting into the nitty-gritty of condo
Mhm.
law. Aren't we here on just whether this variance should be granted or not, on, whether it's on
Correct,
the
so
plan or not?
if it ultimately is my opinion, if it's ultimately my opinion that the board has jurisdiction, then your next legal issue is just purely that.
Yep.
Do they meet the criteria of the zoning law in order to grant a variance? Now, everything you have is, with the comprehensive plan, and, was it, basically, did they create their own hardship, et cetera, the four
And so
criteria.
that's my next question, is how do you get around that? So it's one of the items that we're, that's
Correct,
supposed
so,
to be,
I mean, in reality, I'm not speaking for the board, but in reality, it seems like the legal hurdle, to get a zoning approval seems difficult, in my opinion. However, that's ultimately up for you to decide. But technically, we can't get to the step 2
Until you do stuff.
before we deal with step 1.
okay.
You read it exactly right.
the one page that shows what the covenant amendment goes actually.
All right, we already
Wouldn't
have
it be
that.
possible in the building?
Wait a minute,
hold
on, I just have to get. It's okay if I ask a
Yeah.
question, okay.
That's.
I've seen plenty of houses where it's a cut-in, so instead of having the platform with, on the exterior of the house, can't they have the deck there, can't the cut-in be on the inside of the house?
Maybe,
So then they don't
Mr.
have to have
Lawrence-
an exterior,
Mr. Lawrence can answer that.
okay. Also, I didn't know if Wayne could answer it too.
Out.
Yep, let's hear from the expert.
So for that to happen, if we were to cut from that front door into the house,
Recess,
Right.
yeah.
lose access to the first room to the left completely, and lose access into the closet area too.
Okay.
It would be tough, sure.
Where's, I just, we're just getting to the floor plan.
I think when it came down to it, if it's gonna go this way with all these things that were said tonight, and was she under oath today?
No, she
doesn't
should have
have
an
to.
attorney.
Oh, interesting, okay.
I'm happy to be under oath.
Okay.
You see, if we were to cut that into that door, it just causes problems with that entry.
We are trying to help the Odells keep their stairs.
All right,
We got it.
We got it.
That's fine.
Okay,
Good answer?
okay.
Good?
Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
so,
Can we continue to
entertain a motion to continue to the 23rd with submittals to the town by the, did we say the date was?
The
ninth.
Good night.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Proper motion and properly seconded. Any discussion? Board's pleasure?
Good.
Motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Steve, you were 1 minute late, and look what you got.
As long as my brother doesn't hurt.
Look, I like. All right. Hope your brother was ready to go, so there we go.
Oh, right.
Dave,
I think we got the whole plan.
do you? Okay, perfect. I just want to make that as an exhibit, just,
Okay, are we ready? Are you ready, Mr. Sir?
I'm ready when the board is.
No, we're ready.
I know, I apologize. I wanted to make sure I had copies, and I got jammed up on Route 1 on the way up here by a little traffic. So thank you. Attorney Steven Surdit, here for the applicant, Champlin family. Last we left off, the public hearing was left open for the submission of a plan that would include both the buffering as well as the swale. I believe that plan, I unfortunately just got that plan back from the surveyor today after we made a couple of comments back and forth with the abutters. Now that swale is shown between, essentially along the property line between the tree and the property line, which is where it existed and continues to exist in some form today, where it will be recreated. So I would open it up to questions the board would have with regard to that, and ask that it be included as an exhibit to our application.
Questions from the board?
So what exactly has changed between this survey and the one that was submitted today?
So the one that with the survey that we had last time and we had today, you'll see that there are some small, for lack of a better term, squiggly lines between the property line and my client Champlin and the houses that lie in Manning Drive, which is along the lower portion of the map. And you'll see that there's a notation along it that says proposed approximate location of swale, and that's the swale that we are going to be including and be recreating on the site to control water, which we work with the applicant, which is or the abutters, and is their request.
So there's no other changes to what was being heard before?
No, no other changes. Staff had requested that we come back with it on the plan rather than it being ambiguous through words. So that's what we're here tonight, and no other changes are being proposed.
And Mr. Wing, you are?
We're,
You're in agreement?
yeah.
Okay. That's all I'm looking
There's an issue, calm down.
Oh my gosh.
That's my Newport case, by the way.
You don't have any jurisdiction language anywhere?
No,
Good.
no,
All right, any further questions from the board?
no.
Okay, entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
First and properly second. All those in favor?
All right.
Motion carries 5-0. Wilson.
No, I did one.
You do.
Chairman, members of the board, I would make the following findings of fact with respect to project summary. Champlin, tax assessors, plat D, lot 15, located at 556 Point Judith Road. The applicant is represented by attorney Steven Surdot. Sean Champlin testified on behalf of the applicant. And abutter Ocean Breeze Association is represented by attorney, is it Bill or William or? William Wynn. And I would incorporate into the findings of fact that the project summary dated 9/11/2024, the zoning decision dated September 9th, 2014, the zoning decision dated April 15th, 2002, the architectural drawings as part of the packet rendered by Herc Works, the town of Narragansett aerial photograph of the site. During the hearing, Attorney Sirdock explained that the applicant is seeking a 12-foot 6-inch left side yard setback and a 55-foot lot width variance. In Mr. Sirdock's overview, he explained that Champlin Welding, which operates on the property, provides a vital service to the community, particularly the commercial fishing community here in Narragansett. That the reason for the variance is so that a second residence can be constructed on the property in which the applicant's son, who is Mr. Sean Champlin, and his family intend to occupy that so that Sean can, I guess, either take over or assist his aging father with his welding business. He described, and I'm still talking about Mr. Sirdock for a moment, the physical layout of the property as being a long and relatively narrow lot width, and that description is supported by the aerial photograph that's part of the packet. He also stated that there is currently 2 pre-existing uses, namely a residence and a commercial welding operation on the property. Sean Champlin testified that he is the applicant's son and that it is his intention to reside in a newly constructed home on the property with his son if the application is approved, and as I stated earlier, to work with his aging father to keep their vital business operation. He testified that the house will be constructed on the, just bear with me for a minute, but I would say the northern boundary of the lot, and he testified that the left side setback variance of 12 feet 6 inches was on that northern boundary, and that to the immediate north is all wooded and subject to a conservation easement. There's no other homes or anyone there that would be affected by the potential granting of a setback variance. In other words, it would have little or no impact on the landowner to the north. Of note is that the current setback, I think I have this right, is only 2 feet 3 inches, and so this variance would actually increase the setback that's being requested with respect to the side yard setback. With respect to the 50-foot lot width variance, Mr. Champlin testified that the current lot width is 145 feet and that 200 foot is required. He testified that without the lot width variance, he would suffer more than a mere inconvenience, and that the hardship from which he seeks relief would be immediate, and that the relief is not self-created. Rather, it is caused by the long and narrow lot width of the geographical dimensions of the lot. Finally, as part of Attorney Sirdock's presentation and Mr. Champlin's testimony, they have stated that they intend to deploy mutually agreeable buffering and other site conditions along the entire, when I say the entire, it's mostly the south and eastern border of the property of the abutting residential neighbors that comprise the Ocean Breeze Associates, who have, well, I'll say for the purposes of this, objected to the application. The applicant and objector have agreed that if a variance is granted by this board, it must be subject to and conditioned upon the following stipulations, and I'll read these. Are these still operable? Should I read these into the record? And I'll just read, this was marked previously as Exhibit B. The applicant hereby agrees that any approval of its application for dimensional variance from the zoning code be conditioned upon the following stipulations. Number 1, the applicant shall plant and maintain an evergreen vegetative buffer between the applicant's property and those abutting properties identified as lot numbers V80, V82, and V84, otherwise known as the buffer. Number 2, pursuant to sections 7.8 and 7.12 of the zoning ordinance, said buffer shall consist of a double row of evergreens planted alternately, which are at least 5 feet tall and planted, and of sufficient amount and arrangement to fully screen the applicant's non-residential use from the abutting residential properties. Number 3, applicant shall maintain the vegetative buffer at its own expense, which shall include the replacement of any trees that die or otherwise fail to provide adequate screening. And number 4, the applicant shall reinstall the previously existing swale between the applicant's property and the residential abutting properties to ensure that stormwater and other drainage from the applicant's property does not flow onto the abutting residential properties. And lastly, the applicant and objector, I don't know if this is a joint exhibit that was just submitted tonight. This is the,
Which exhibit?
yeah, I'm sorry, this is the exhibit that actually depicts in detail.
I would, yeah, that exhibit simply displays exactly the conditions that were just
Okay,
read to
all right. Yeah, okay. And so that exhibit is made a part of the record, and on the exhibit clearly depicts the buffer zone, and I think it actually describes those conditions that I just read into the record on the exhibit. That'll be part of the variance, and that concludes my findings of fact.
A second.
A second.
Just for quick clarification, Mr. Kyle, do you want those conditions included in the zoning board decision as well as the plan? The plan has it stated as well as.
I think they should probably be in both.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can restate them if you want in my draft decision, or
You can just incorporate it.
yeah, just incorporate it.
And we'll pick it up. No problem.
I'm losing my voice.
And one other quick clarification, sorry about that. And due to the new site plan being submitted, I would like to make a correction to finding of fact letter A. The site plan completed by Christopher Palmer is now has a last revised date of December 19th, 2024.
Okay, we'll incorporate that into the findings of fact.
Who made the second? Who seconded? You? Can you make a second? Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Who said, I thought Christine seconded.
Doesn't matter.
She did. I think we said it at the same time. She said it, so it's fine.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, Al, you got it.
Sorry.
No worries.
All right, I would move to grant the applicant's request for a variance from section 6.4 dimensional regulations for a 12-foot 6-inch left side yard setback and a 55-foot lot width variance. There's been sufficient evidence in the record to meet the variance standards which are set forth in our code. The hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to any physical or economic disability of the applicant. The hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant and does not result primarily from the desire of the applicant to realize financial gain. That the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance or comprehensive plan of the town of Narragansett. So my motion is to grant the variance as requested, and specifically including the stipulations which I set forth in my findings of fact, and subject to all of the other applicable conditions as set forth in the September 11, 2024 project summary. Anything else?
Yes. I would like to also make a note that we have not received 3 original site plans, and we would like to
I will
confirm.
get them and drop them off immediately. The plan was just done today. I haven't had a chance to go get them from Mr. Comer, but I
I need
will
to say
immediately deliver them to the board.
He's on the record telling us he's gonna get them.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the
Right,
board.
sure.
Thank you for letting us work this out and giving us the space to do that.
We're asking you to do it till we do it.
Thank you.
Likely.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Thank you.
Holy crap.
Have fun with this.
I got it.
Anything further from? Anything further from staff?
Not from me, I'm not sure if Jill has anything or not. Or Ryan, do you have anything?
We're good, you have anything?
I have no updates for you this evening.
Thank you.
None. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank goodness.
Christine's right
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.